Good morning, YouTube. It's a beautiful day out here. So I'd come out and make a video. I want to talk about the Quadrivium. It's, I guess most people probably won't even know what that is or have even heard of it, but it's a classical way of thinking, and it's part of the liberal arts. Being a musician, I taught myself the Pythagorean modes like years and years ago, so that kind of influenced me into studying all this stuff later. But basically, the Quadrivium is, it goes back to the 16th century or maybe beyond, but it was revived off of like Plato's Republic and Pythagoras and Pythagorean work, which is basically the knowledge that Pythagoras probably got most of his knowledge from the banks of the Nile and the Ganges and all that good stuff, traveling around, learning from the different cultures at that time. But basically the Quadrivium is, why don't you knock over my phone, kitty cat? Too curious. Basically the Quadrivium is pure number in arithmetic or mathematics, geometry or number in space, music, number in time, and astronomy, number in space and time. And after studying those four subjects extensively, I realized that in the middle of all of that is you. And what I mean by that is our base 10 counting system, or our 0 through 9 counting system. It all started with, observing nature, but also using our bodies to create a counting system. That's why we can do these cool number tricks that I've talked about with base 9 on our fingers, and we have this 3, 6, 9, 12 minute digits and our primary digits, and then our heartbeat. So although the Quadrivium is more of an art-based knowledge, not a practical, or an art-based science, not a practical science like medicine or masonry or architecture, it's at the core of those things, because the anatomy of man for medicine is at the core of this, the way we grow, and the Fibonacci ratios and the phi or pi ratios, and we use our bodies to climb this cosmic ladder, essentially, in the imperial system. And of course the Freemasons that were building architecture use all the divine mathematics, divine proportion, and divine number, which is based on us and being built in the image of the universe, being built in the image of God, or the Logos, in their architecture. So they were capturing as above, so below, macro and microcosm, man in the middle. But the beautiful thing about learning the Quadrivium, it's in Latin that means where the four roads intersect. And those four roads are, as I mentioned, mathematics, geometry, music, and astronomy. Now, what I mean by you're in the middle is the pure mathematics is basically we learn to count on our hands and fingers, okay? And if it's evident in all space and time, we count our heartbeat, and if you practice scale invariance and balance, you set everything at a equal place. What I mean by that is like the law of average. So I've explained in my videos about how the thumb is the inch, and the foot is the average sole of the shoe, and the mile is 1,000 human paces, and our heartbeat, if you take the average heartbeat at 72 beats, you can start doubling that, and you'll get all of the days in the great year, and the Platonic solids come out of it, and all that beautiful stuff. The sacred geometry, the study of the using the compass and the square is how we actually got our mathematical symbols. So there was tools alongside with our hands and our heartbeats and our digits. You know, you're the seal song, 20 digits, 72 beats, it's 1440 degrees. But if you place yourself in the middle of all this stuff, it begins to make sense. And just remember, base it all on the imperial system, inches and miles and feet and all that good stuff, and it starts to make sense when you put yourself in the center. The Pythagorean tuning, there's the bones in your hands doubled. 27, 54, 108, 216, 432, 864, 1728. And then those numbers are extremely significant to space and time once you start playing with the spheres or the zeros and you start adding and taking these away. Even the music tempos that we play revolve around our heartbeat. Average music runs between 72 and 144 beats per minute, somewhere in there. You can go down as low as 36 and a half beats, I guess. But you know, music flows within our heartbeats. The original tuning was based on our body proportions. The fractions in music are based on the phi ratios in nature, and run up our hands and our arms that we grow from the navel outwards. The geometry is based on the sun's movements and our body proportions. Ultimately, climbing the cosmic ladder, you know, our spine can be used with our heartbeat 33 and 72 and the digits on our hands, and we can start climbing the cosmic ladder. This is what the triangulation in the eye is all about. And all of this mathematics has heavily influenced music and harmonies and harmonics in the European and Islamic cultures, but it's also influenced most all religions, because religion is just the binding, you know, the reyoking, the rejoining of knowledge. It's what it's supposed to be. It's been abused, it's been twisted, it's been rhetoric has been placed before the logic, and knowledge has been lost. But ultimately, it's the knowledge of mankind, us, our connection to the universe and everything. But so the quadrivium is a classical way of learning. But the clock that we use today is based on all of that. If you study the hours and minutes of the day and how time works, you'll find that that's all intricately part of the quadrivium. So math, and number and space, and geometry, music, astronomy is all completely woven together into a wonderful science that if you know yourself, then you start to get all of this stuff deeply. And it's a really beautiful knowledge. And once you unravel it, you'll find, no matter what culture you're from, if you dive deep into it, you'll find that whatever culture you're from has been influenced from this. It doesn't matter what race you are, what religion you are, what part of the planet you're from. This knowledge has penetrated all of that. It's evidence. I mean, the Pythagorean modes are actually called the church modes. I taught myself most of this stuff, but I did go to college just a couple of years ago, and I took some music classes and stuff, and pretty much aced through it because I knew all of this stuff already. But I did pick up a few things, and in college they called it the church mode. So, you know, when I got out, I really dug into, you know, to why the, you know, Pythagoras, Plato, and all this ancient knowledge out of Greece has influenced the churches. It's evident in the temples. They're built to these divine proportions: 144, 216, 108, 27, 54. You know, 432 is a fantastic number. You square that and you put it in miles per second, and you got the speed of light down there. It's a simpler way to understand things too than in this compartmentalized learning that we have in school today. And if we can get back to learning the trivium and the quadrivium and how it's based around you and space and time and music and harmony and proportion and how we reflect the macro and the microcosm of the universe, this knowledge being brought back to life could maybe tear down a lot of boundaries between cultures, and we can find some common ground. But look into it. Anyways, I'm gonna go finish my coffee and feed my animals. Have a great morning. Peace.